Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are having a lovely, beautiful day. It's currently not raining here. It was. One reason why we're all here today is because I want to share with you guys some lovely patterns that I found that I think would be perfect for this winter to cast on if you guys are searching for some lovely new knits to cast on. We did this a couple months ago for fall knitting and what I plan to knit this fall. And I really enjoyed that video, so I thought, why not, maybe we could do this every season. I could try to find some patterns that really excite me and maybe can excite you too. So let's get right to it. Oh, by the way, today I am wearing my Louvre sweater by petiteknit. It was knit up in drops, Nord and Drops Kid Silk Mohair. I've had it for about over a year now. The fit hasn't changed since I got it and I've worn it quite a lot. So yeah, so this sweater is now a year old. Let's move the table. Do we start with sweaters or? So the first sweater that I want to talk about is one that was published 3 years ago, December 2020, and it is the why did I pick a name like this? Fridag sweater, Fridagsgenser by Odengard. I know the O with a bar isn't actually an O, but I don't know what actually it sounds. Aftenstrik. Okay, anyways, so I'm gonna put the name right here. It is this lovely, beautiful sweater. Comes in English, Danish, and Norwegian. It is this lovely, beautiful cable sweater with a really chunky collar. It is an Aran weight. It calls for 5mm and 4.5mm, which is a US 7 and a US 8. The smallest size calls for 913 yards. That's not that much, but it goes up to 1,245 meters. So then that's 998 yards to 1,362 yards. I love the really thick fold over like turtleneck. I kind of wish I had actually made this one like a lot longer, because as I wear it, since this is a knit collar, not a pick up and add the collar, but like a knit collar and then do the body, it kind of like pulls down. But this collar looks beautiful because it's so luscious and thick and folds over. And if you have just started cables, what's really fun about this one is it works up with 3 different types of cable, one right next to the other. Goes from thicker to thinner, and it has a beautiful moss stitch. And with the Moby sweater that I've been currently knitting right now, I have discovered that I absolutely love, is it moss or seed stitch? It's either the double moss stitch or the double seed. I think it's the double seed stitch. Okay, yeah. It's such a fun texture to work up. It's really simple and it really adds a nice warm, cozy vibe to your sweater. So this is the Moby sweater. I haven't worked on it this week, but yeah, so you see this like beautiful texture on smaller needles, so it's a lot smaller of like bumps, but this double seed stitch is a beautiful texture, so I think that this one would be really nice to work up. It's a really loose, oversized, like drop shoulder sweater. I highly recommend you guys check out this pattern. If you're unsure about knitting a full sweater like this, there is also the neck warmer version, which was also published December 2020. That one calls for, again, an Aran weight, the exact same measurements, same needles, but it's this super cute, lovely, just like a faux cowl. In French you call it. So it's not an actual sweater, but you wear it under just to keep you warm, keep your neck warm, and you wear it under your coats or sweaters, and it just looks stunning and stylish with a little beautiful rib detail at the bottom. So if you don't have enough yarn for the full sweater, but you still want to have a super cute cable like collar, it goes from 182 yards to 363 yards, which is 166 meters to 332 meters on US 8 and US 7 needles, which is 4.5mm and 5mm needles. Woo, a lot of numbers. I love when designers have like a sweater version and then they have a pullover version, a collar version. They have like many different versions. petiteknit is actually doing that with her, I think it's the Celeste sweater, where she came out with Christmas stockings, came out with a baby knit, came out with socks, has the sweater knit, which is really, really cool. The next sweater that I want to talk to you guys about is actually the Selene Sweater by Ahmic Cardigan, and it is this gorgeous colorwork sweater, round yoke, and I absolutely love it. I'm someone who likes stripes and triangles, and this one kind of has both because the triangles create the stripes. So this one calls for a worsted weight yarn. It calls for a sport and 2 lace held together. There's 3 strands held together. So it is a little bit more demanding in yarn quantities. Could do a DK and a lace and that would work. Or just do a worsted and that's it, that would work. Uses US 6 and US 7, which is 4mm needles and 4.5mm needles. And it calls for 2,506 yards, 4,568 yards, or 2,291 meters for 4,177 meters. Again, that is if you are holding 3 strands together. I honestly love the black and white version that she knit up for this sweater. I find it so stylish and stunning, and I love the little detail, how it starts off really, really small with some little speckle around and then the triangles start, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I absolutely love how it's not your typical really long ribbed cuff. It's a small, delicate little hem at the bottom and on the sleeves, and very loose, like wide sleeves. I find that really stunning. Someone else also knit this in this gorgeous Gabo wool Eco Baby brush, kind of lime yellow green color and a black accent color, and I find it stunning. I don't think I would have come up with those colors together myself, but it is beautiful. But yeah, I highly recommend you guys check out this pattern if you haven't already, or Anventel, because she has some really stunning pattern. A lot of them take up a lot of yarn, but they're beautifully designed. The second to last sweater that I want to talk to you guys about, then we'll move on to cardigans and then other accessories. One that was published in May 2022. It is by Suzanne Mueller, Never Ending Story Sweater. I love this one because it is a wide V but doesn't have a really thick collar, and it is a DK weight. It does call for a Santa's Garden Sunday, but a lot of people did knit this in a cotton blend as well, so that you could also wear it in the spring and the summer. It kind of becomes an all sweater, all season type of sweater. I love the black one that she knit. It is very loose, very oversized. Again, with a little thinner hem rib at the bottom. I guess that also helps with the all season type of look vibe. Collar is an I-cord instead of a thick rib, so it keeps it really light, very airy, and you kind of pay more attention to the very thick knit instead of the collar. I really, really like this one, and if I was to knit it, I would for sure knit it in the black just because it looks stunning. The next pattern that I want to talk to you guys about, a pattern to look out for, and the color palette that this designer chose for their swatch or their original design is even more pretty. It is called Nightfall, and it is by Maxime Cyr. It is a fingering weight, and it will be in the Laine magazine issue 19. So if you can get yourself that magazine, I highly recommend you guys do, because it is a work of art. It's a round yoke, but it is one of those round yokes that doesn't go down to like here, so then you don't get the bat wing. I love that. The pattern ends up working a little bit more on the sleeve. So you're gonna break up for the body, knit the body, and then like keep doing the color work when you pick up for the sleeves. So it keeps it wide, like it keeps the color work going without the sweater becoming really wide. One reason why I have a hard time with round yokes is like when you put on a coat, this part ends up like bunching up and it's really uncomfortable, and then you get warm and it's wool and it's ugh. So I really like that this one shouldn't do that. It calls for US 3 and US 2, which is 3.25 millimeters and 2.75 millimeters. Again, it is such a stunning pattern, and when I saw it, I was like, ooh, because like, again, the detail also continues on the cuff right before you do the rib in the darker color, and on the hem at the bottom. It kind of all ties together with that little kind of clay cream color. I don't know. The sweater just really spoke to me, and I'm really, really excited, but it only comes out in a month. When that time comes, if you guys do have access to the Laine magazine, I highly recommend you check it out for this pattern. One sweater that I do want to talk to you guys about, which is a man or a woman sweater. It kind of shows both, and it works great on both because this navy blue version looks stunning on him. But it is the Nido Pullover, and it is from Jared Flood, and it was published in Brooklyn Tweed. This one is from March 2023. It calls for DK weights, 1,400 yards to 3,500, 1,280 to 3,200 37. Sorry, these numbers are hard. I'm just gonna put them here. It is a brioche tuck knit. There are versions to make this into a sweater or just like a pullover, which I find really, really great. It is a one piece, has short rows. There are video tutorials, it says, to help, and there is some shaping, top down. I just find this looks like such a stylish, chunky sweater, and I love that it can work on anybody. There are many, many sizes, and it just feels like a really nice sweater. If you wore a little collar underneath or sleeves poking out at the edge, you would look really, really cute. So I highly recommend you guys check out this pattern. So that kind of wraps up for our sweaters. Now I want to go into the cardigan portion. First cardigan that I want to talk to you guys about is the Ahmic Cardigan by Tara Lynn Morrison. It was published in March 2023, so it's a pattern of this year. And I think that this looks beautiful. It was published in Goodnight Day, and it is a really, really thick, chunky cardigan. It really doesn't take up that much yarn. It calls for super bulky, which is US 13 to US 19. So really, really thick needles. I know if you have the yarn, you know this one's gonna work up really, really quickly. 350 yards to 405 yards, which is 320 meters to 370 meters. So really not a lot of yarn. And it is a super easy pattern. I just love how thick this raglan cardigan is. And I feel like if you make it in like a really nice tweed, rustic color tweed, this would look beautiful. Any speckled tweed yarn would just look really popping and beautiful. Some people have even done the cuffs a different color. Yeah, that's rolled. It does seem to have a little bit of like a rolled cuff action going on. I'm not too sure how that works up, but that is really, really interesting and unique. I don't think this one has buttons, but I'm pretty sure if you wanted to, it would be really simple to add buttons so that you can keep it closed. I also love that it's not a full length sleeve. It's more like a 3/4. Of course, if you add more yarn, you could make the sleeve as long as you want. Yeah, this pattern, the moment I saw it, I was just like, yes, I'm telling you guys, I'm gonna start buying a little bit more chunky yarn. The problem is whenever I buy chunky yarn, I feel like it's so much more expensive because it's by weight, so you get less meterage. So I always feel like buying fingering, it's more bang for my buck because it's like 400 yards, but then you gotta knit twice as much. My mind. The next cardigan I want to talk to you guys about is the Clematis Sweater. So it's kind of like a hybrid because you can't actually fully open it, but it does have like an opening with buttons. So this one is a pattern that was published over the summer, but I do think that if you wear this with like over a cute dress or over a cute skirt, like at a, I don't know, a Christmas party, maybe not, but just like I feel like it's a really cute sweater to have it under your like winter coat, and you just go to a coffee shop and then you just have that, and it's like a really cute sweater. Anyway, especially in the white, I think that this would be beautiful. So it calls for DK weight yarn, and it calls for US 7 and US 4, which is 4.5 millimeters and 3.5 millimeter needles. It calls for 875 yards to 1,900 yards, or 800 meters to 1,750 meters. Again, these are all for the different sizes. It goes from X small to 4XL. Colorblind accessible. Interesting. I don't know what that means. It says that it's colorblind accessible. If you guys know what that means, let me know. I'm not really sure. It is a seamless pattern. It is unisex. Yeah, I'm looking at all these people wearing it, and it looks beautiful on every body. So I've seen a few people knit this one, and at first I was really confused because I thought it did open, and then I was like, what does it look like if you open it from the top? But no. It is a top down in the round. I highly recommend you guys check out this pattern. The next pattern that I want to talk to you guys about is, I honestly feel like we're going through so many patterns. It's gonna be a long video. Okay, so it's the Nature Cardigan by Ozetta Haley Medley. So this cardigan was published in February of 2021. It calls for an Aran weight yarn that is US 7, which is 4.5 millimeter needles, and it calls 950 yards to 1,950 yards, which is 869 meters to 1,783 meters. It is a bottom-up cardigan. Now, I'm not a fan of bottom-up knits too much, but this one just looks stunning. It is worked in the flat. So it is a bottom-up worked in the flat, but it does have quite a lot of positive ease. So one reason why I put this one into my first look at it was from this other person who knit it. She knit it in a gorgeous white yarn. It doesn't say what yarn. Yeah, it does. Mountain Meadow Wool Suffolk. She made it with one pocket, and I find that such a cute way to knit this cardigan up. The cardigan comes with 2 pockets on both sides, but she just knit one, and then in the white it is stunning. So I find this cardigan really unique because it has a ribbed bottom and a ribbed collar, but then the button band, it's like the buttons go on the rib and the collar and the hem, but then it's a double knit button band. So it's not your typical cardigan where the rib continues again with the button band. It kind of like splits off, which is really, really unique and kind of gives it like a more seamless look and kind of tricks the eye almost into thinking that it's just in the round with some buttons. But no, it's like, I find that really, really cool. It's just one of those cardigans that I feel like would work on everybody. And a little bit boxy, but like a stylish boxy look. I guess I'm really into cardigans, but the next cardigan I want to share with you guys kind of has a similar fit, except it is the Carbeth Cardigan by Kate Davis Design. And this one was published in February 2018, so it's a little bit older. So this one is also knit bottom up, but this one I find really interesting because the increases are worked along the front and along the back at the center, so you get some really nice division and triangle at the top of the cardigan. It has again a really thick chunky collar like the other one. It is knit a little bit smaller to have a smaller fit, not so boxy and wide, but still kind of gives off a similar like vibe. This one is a bulky weight cardigan, so it US 10.5, which is pretty big needles, 6.5 millimeter needles. It calls for 1,160 yards to 1,960 yards, or 1,060 meters to about 1,790 meters. If you look over on Ravelry, this one is kind of really popular. It has been knit 2,900 times. I'm surprised that I'm only seeing this one now. It's rated as a really not too difficult pattern. I just love the mustard yellow that this designer originally went with. So that's kind of it for our cardigan and sweater portion. So the next color I want to talk to you guys about, it's kind of one that popped over on my Instagram feed not too long ago, and it is the Pelto Collar by Jenny Anash. Again, I'm so sorry if I mispronounce anything in this video. Words can be hard. It was published in October 2021. It calls for a fingering, so a fingering weight and a lace weight held together. It uses US 2.5 and US 4, which is 3 millimeters and 3.5 millimeters. One thing that I really, really love about this collar is the texture on the front portion. The back is twisted rib, but the front has like some really nice kind of like wide, kind of looks like flowers. I'm not too sure what this stitch is called. It just says a textured stitch, but I find that really, really pretty. But I love how the collar is kind of like a two different textured vibe. So the inside seems to be just like a knit stitch, but then on this side, it seems to be like a twisted kind of rib situation going on. And if you guys are cold on a cold wintry day, or I feel like she looks ready to go like traveling on a boat or something, and she would be all warm and cozy. Really, I might start actually getting into collars. I will knit a cowl and we'll see how I feel about it, but I've never actually had a collar or a cowl. Same with a balaclava balaclava. Recently, I'm kind of dipping my toes a little bit. Now, I don't know, maybe I'll start with this pattern or the other one. Speaking of cowls that I will knit, that is true. One pattern that I did plan on knitting and I will be knitting is the Rad Plaid Cowl by Andrea Mowry. And I picked up these yarns at Knit City to knit it up. This is the color palette I'm thinking about knitting it in. It calls for 2 fingering weight and a lace, but I ended up going with 3 fingering weight. So the main color would be, of course, the white. And then I was gonna use this lovely brown and then this kind of more teal green to go with it. I think that these colors would just look stunning. They are from Ancient Art Yarn. So the brown and the white is the same Little Nettle Soft, which is 68% superwash merino, 32% nettle. But then the green was a different fiber. It is 49% wool, 34% mohair, 11% nylon, 4% acrylic, and 2% silk. This one is packed and loaded with everything. It's basically just missing cotton at this point. Rad Plaid Cowl calls for US 3 to 3.25 millimeter needles, calls for 622 yards. It is a one size pattern. It calls for a provisional cast on. It is knit in the round, and I think that it just looks stunning. And basically, it's one of my friends who went to Knit City with me who inspired me to pick up this yarn and knit one because she really wanted to knit one. Hopefully we can have matching cowls. Well, not in matching colors, but just the same cowl. So now we have 2 more patterns that I want to talk to you about. First one is one that I think last year kind of hit everybody and everybody was obsessed with, and I think that that is the Sophie Shawl by petiteknit. She has a few different sizes for the Sophie Shawl, and it is a great stash busting if you guys have leftover yarn from a certain project, because the small really doesn't take up that much yarn. It takes up 328 yards to 656 yards, or 300 meters to 600 meters. So it really doesn't call for that much yarn, and it is just such, especially the large, it just looks so warm and cozy, and it's such a stylish elegant, but like very simple, clean garter stitch knit. It is unisex, so it can work for men and women. It works as a really great gift. This one was published, like I said, last year, October 2022. The last pattern that I want to share with you guys is one that I stumbled upon a couple weeks ago and I thought was super, super cute, and I love the detail and the construction. This person clearly put a lot of thought in how they constructed their socks, and it is a sock pattern. It's called the Goy Sock. It is a colorwork sock, but I love how the heel actually is a heart. I think that that is super, super cute, and I don't know if I would have ever come up with that, but it is a super cute, perfect placement. You have a little secret heart on your heel. I don't know if that means anything. There's like a hidden meaning behind having a heart on your heel, but it calls for light fingering. So it's US 0 to US 2 millimeters to 2.75 millimeters, 394 yards to 612 yards, which is 360 meters to 560 meters. So it doesn't call for too much yarn. So the original design has 3 different colors. They just give off like a vintage rustic vibe. I think it's like the diamond pattern with the 3 colors, especially if you go with like a mustard color or a copper color, really gives a retro vintage vibe. These socks are unisex. They work with Fair Isle, just letting you know. They're knit in the round, but there are video tutorials apparently that come with this. Really haven't seen many socks knit like this. I just wanted to share that with you guys. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and let me know if you guys decide to cast on any of these projects. Hope you guys have a lovely, beautiful day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!